So what is Think Like a CEO business strategy? It's a set of tools, first of all, based on your prospects' financial returns. We're also going to look at your prospects' financial returns with respect to the industry they're in and how the other players are achieving parity or exceeding your prospect with respect to their financial returns. Once you do this, you're going to very quickly be able to let the prospect know that you know their current situation. You know the situation that they're in and you understand it. It's going to be consistent with the messaging that their CEO has been socializing throughout the organization, so they're going to recognize it. So right away, they're going to recognize that you're different. You understand their situation. You understand what's going on. We're also going to immediately get a value proposition agreed to on your product or service based on how you align that with their profit strategies. You see, CEOs are a different breed. They all have bosses, and their bosses are called the shareholders. And to the CEO, the language of business is what they're focused around, and that's the financial returns, because they're in business to drive a more valuable stock price to the shareholders. So the CEO understands the concept of risks. He understands the concept of developing and executing strategies, and certainly they understand what's going on with the financial returns of the company, and that's what they're going to be stressing down through the organization. Now, too many salespeople have a habit of probing with the customer and asking basic questions that really Think Like a CEO is going to do away with. It's going to allow you immediately to see the current situation, so you're not going to have to ask questions like, Mr. Customer, can you tell me how your revenues have been over the last few years? Or can you talk about how your organization is structured? Or what are some of your key initiatives? We're going to give you these answers right away, so you're not going to be sitting there asking what in many respects to a very sharp executive might be termed a not-so-intelligent question like we see here. What's keeping you up at night these days? Really? Now, some salespeople take some courses that teach them to develop relationships with their customers. For instance, here, nice fish. I'm a fisherman too. Whereabouts do you fish, and how do you catch them? What line strength do you use? Do you like to fly fish or sea fish? We're not talking about the relationship angle here with Think Like a CEO. We're talking specifically the information that's going to allow you to communicate with your customer and tell him the same message that he's hearing from his senior executives. So a lot of people don't sell, a lot of salespeople don't sell like the CEO, quite frankly, because there's not a concerted effort from the top of their organization to sell like a CEO and to raise the level of their game. Many salespeople don't have the background or the ability or even the time to figure all this out. So what happens are salespeople end up focusing on their product rather than the solutions, and certainly not the solutions that align with the current situation of their prospects. So what we're going to do in this section and in this application is allow you to immediately differentiate yourself from your competitors. Your messaging is going to align completely with the messaging that your prospect that you're calling on, whether he's a mid-level manager or a senior manager, what they're hearing from their senior executives. You're going to immediately establish and get agreement on a value proposition, and your customer is going to, in reality, sit there and think, this person understands my situation. He understands where we're at. It's worthwhile to go to the next step, whether that next step is a meeting, whether that next step is further discovery or a demonstration or whatever the case is, or even if it's, okay, I'm speaking with you on the phone, I think it makes sense that we meet in person. You understand my situation, it aligns with the strategy of my organization, and that warrants us to move further. As you move down the sales cycle, we're going to teach you in the Think Like a CEO app how you can differentiate yourself and your project so that when the customer is looking at the various alternatives, one alternative is going to look like Mr. Ed, and your alternative is going to look like Secretariat. The decision is going to be obvious for them. So that's a little bit about what Think Like a CEO app is. I wish that you would take some time and go through some of these learning videos, get an understanding of what we're trying to accomplish here, and see if, in fact, how it will make a difference to you in your selling opportunities. Thank you and good selling.